Welcome to Motherhood and ADHD. I'm your friend, Patricia Sen. My mission is to be a lighthouse for mothers with ADHD, helping you find your path to success by learning to appreciate your ADHD as an asset. I'm seeking to change the paradigm that ADHD means your life is doomed to be a hot mess. So I'm sharing strategies and encouraging you in your pursuit of happiness to love who you are every day of your ADHD life. Hey there, successful mama. It's your friend Patricia. Well, here we are still in the middle of the coronavirus outbreak. So if you're listening to this afterwards, you know how this story goes. But if you're listening to this now, just know that I am praying for all of you every day, that you have peace and comfort and can make the best of the situation, because I think every parent is struggling right now being at home 24/7 in confined spaces with their children. And then you throw ADHD in the mix and a lot of us just feel like a hot mess. So many hugs. I'm rooting for you. You can do it. Next, I realized I hadn't read a review in a while, so I'm going to read one of your words of encouragement because they mean so much to me. For one of the hardest things about doing a podcast is you just kind of like send it out to the universe and hope that somebody's listening. So getting the feedback just lights up all the neurons in my brain and pushes me forward to do more of these. You know, it just feels good also to know that what I'm doing is making a difference. And then those two, I guess. So 3 would be, if you would please subscribe, put a review in, choose 5 stars, whatever method you choose. But all those things help put the podcast higher in the search bar. So if someone's looking for a podcast on ADHD, that means this one will come up sooner and then we can reach more moms together. So please subscribe, put a review in, throw in some stars, all that good stuff so that other people can hear and feel encouraged as well. So this review is from ADHD Dance Mom, and she says, "Thank you. I'm only on episode 11, but I just wanted to take the time to tell you how much I am enjoying listening to your wonderful, uplifting podcast. It comes at a time where I'm finally reaching out for help and support outside of my own circles of people that just don't get it. I do not know any other local moms who have adult ADHD, so it is so nice, honestly, to just hear another human and mom that has a brain that operates like mine. I could go on, but for now, I just wanted to say thank you. Great advice, and I look forward to listening more." I don't know what you call this emoji. Heart face emoji? I'll call it that. Thank you so much. Like I said, I love knowing that what I'm doing is making a difference, and part of why I started this was just so that people knew we're not alone. And since I have spoken out about having ADHD, a lot of people have come and said, "Oh, I have that too, but I didn't know they did until I was vulnerable first." And that's really hard to do. And so just know that you're not the only one. It's just that you don't know who else is there. I promise you know plenty of other moms who have it. They either don't know or they're just too scared to say it, like I was for 30-something years. So know that you are not alone, dear ADHD Dance Mom, and I love you. And on that happy note, we are going to jump into something that is one of the great obstacles of motherhood: potty training. I was not planning on potty training my youngest until the summer, but here we are in the house, so we may as well because we're here. And this is my second potty training journey. My first son, he got it day 1. He was 2 years and about 5 months, and he just kept asking to go to the potty, asking, "I want to use the potty. So I did, much to my chagrin, because I was 7 months pregnant with my second one at the time. Not my best idea, but because he was so excited about it, I went ahead and did it. Now, my younger one, he's currently like 2 years and like 7-ish months. He did not care at all. It was not even on his radar. But he has to be potty trained for school in the fall. So I knew we'd have to do it at some point. We just got a little push here with the current situation. And so both times I used Lora Jensen's 3-day method. Her book is called 3-Day Potty Training. Start Friday, done Sunday. And I'll link to that in the show notes so you can go find the book on Amazon. I bought it on my Kindle for like $9.99 and it's a short read. I think it's 44 pages. She has like a whole boatload of kids. I don't even know how many. So she's been around the block. She's potty trained tons of kids and she gets it. I really like her method and I'll tell you why in just a minute. I just felt like it was good stuff, but let me not get off on that tangent just yet. So once I figured, okay, well, let's just go for it. You do need to prepare a little bit ahead of time. So like you read the whole book. She has a ton of question and answers about like, what if this or what if that? You know, you have your kid choose the undies, you know, get them excited about it, pick out prizes for them. You get all set up. And then what I liked about her method, it's not just like the run around naked method because sometimes they don't really feel wet then. So they wear a shirt and undies. And that way you can see also on their underwear if they have any accidents. Like some kids are like dribblers where like a little bit will be there and some kids aren't. So you want to be able to see that. Plus the underwear catches dribbles. And then in the morning of day one, you ceremoniously throw all your diapers in the trash can with your kid. I don't actually throw them in the trash can. I throw them in a Walmart bag because I give them to someone else who needs diapers. But you're in deep and you go for it. Now, her key points are: 1, you just keep telling your child, tell me when you have to go potty. Let me know when you have to go potty. It's always just reminding them. I swear I just said those 2 phrases like 450 million times in the last week. But you don't ever ask them if they have to go potty because we all know that if you ask a toddler anything, the answer is pretty much no. So what's the point in asking? The second key point is praise like a crazy lady. You praise all the time. When you ask them if their underwear is dry or check that it's dry, you give lots of praise every time that happens, which you do 100 million times. When they go pee-pee or poo in the potty, you make a big deal out of it. You know, phone grandma, talk about it, and tell grandma, I'm about to call you, make a big deal out of this. I mean, just lavish the praise. Point 3, which is to me like the hardest part, is that every time they go, you run them to the bathroom. Even when there's accidents, which means there is like a trail of pee running across wherever you were to the bathroom. So I have some tips later to work on that. But it's that reinforcement of like, this feeling means we need to be in the bathroom. And then 4th is you talk about how it's yucky to go pee in your underwear or poop in your underwear, but there's no punishment. There's no like bad boy, bad girl, like any kind of negative talk around it. It's all encouragement. I know it's like super hard to keep your cool when there's a big giant mess, but you're just pushing the timetable longer if you make your child feel bad about something that they haven't yet learned to control. Like this is all about teaching them the process of feeling the feeling of going potty. And then what does it feel like to have a full bladder? How does that feel? And then knowing that feeling means we need to go to the bathroom. And your child doesn't know at the beginning what that feels like. And they don't know how to control their bladder. They don't know how to hold it for longer. And then all that's unfamiliar. And so this is the process of getting there. And you're just lavishing the praise, lavishing the positivity. There's zero negativity involved in the process. And so that's one of the things that I really liked about her method as a whole, is that it's a lot more of your mindset and the way you approach it, because your kid literally knows nothing about the human body. They don't get it. And it's your job as the parent to teach them how to recognize that feeling of having to go to the bathroom, teaching them what do you do when you have that feeling, giving them that awareness about their body and then what to do about it. So that's one of the things I try to keep in the forefront of my mind is like, hey, he doesn't know what this feels like. He doesn't know how to recognize that. He's not doing it to make me angry or make a big mess. He just doesn't have that knowledge yet. And I'm helping him build that knowledge. One of the other things I liked about it, there's a ton of Q&A. So if you're like, well, what about this issue or what that? Like every chapter or section, I guess, because it's really not that long of a book, has questions that she's heard over many years of doing potty training with parents. So if you're worried about a special circumstance, I'd bet you that she already covers it in the Q&A. I like that it's very like fact-based of like, hey, going pee in your underwear is gross. It's not making them feel bad. There's no shame or anything involved. It's just very factual. That is yucky. That is dirty. Here's what we do instead. I like that it's a really simple method. There's not a lot of things to keep track of. And the whole like looking at it as you are the parent teaching them how to handle this fact of life. We all go to the bathroom. they really do learn the feeling of the bladder pressure and how to hold it. Because one of the things I didn't really like about some of the methods that I looked into ahead of time, like there's some that like have you go put the kid on the potty every like 15 minutes. Well, the problem is they don't ever learn the feeling of having to go to the bathroom because they empty their bladder every 15 minutes. It doesn't have time to get full. So they're not going to learn that feeling of like, oh, this is what it feels like. This is my cue that I have to go to the bathroom. And, I've talked a bit about behaviors and cues and all that. I've been reading several books on the topics, and I'm going to be covering those in the next couple weeks. But it just reminded me a lot of that. Like, you're creating that habit loop of cue, I feel this bladder feeling. My behavior is I go to the potty. Reward is whatever you decide for your child. So as an example, day 1, we had 12 accidents and twice he made it to the potty. So that's 14 potty incidents, I guess you would call, in the day. Whereas days 2 and 3, it was more like 6 accidents and going into the potty once. But the difference is that's only 7 trips. So he was learning how to hold his pee better. Like he wasn't peeing all the time. Like I swear, oh my goodness, the first day, it was like an accident every like 20 or 30 minutes because he wasn't used to holding it in. There's no control. Like it's just a release. There's just pee coming out at any moment. When the pee shows up, the pee goes in the diaper, and that's that, right? So your kids are learning that feeling of bladder pressure and learning how to hold it longer. And the main thing I like about it is that this is efficient. We were done in 3 days. Y'all, I have friends who are like, oh, we've been working on potty training for, weeks now. Oh my God, no, I cannot handle doing this thing for weeks when I know I can get it done in 3 days. I don't have the patience for that. Like my OCD, my house being like clean, not having pee all over my house for weeks, can't even handle that. So this worked well for my personality. Like I want to get in, I want to get out, let's move, we're done. So it really does take 3 days to do. Now, that's not to say that your kid's never going to have an accident ever again. That's crazy talk. You're still going to have some issues. Like I'm still saying a week later, tell me when you have to go potty. Tell me when you have to go potty. But like I can tell you day 4, he went in the potty every time. There were no accidents. Day 5, we only had 1 accident. Day 6, no accidents. Day 7, 1 accident, but that was my fault because I told him we had to go potty before we went and played outside, and then I forgot to make him do it. So my bad. Parent fault. And the next day there were no accidents again. So as long as you keep up with that habit of tell me when you have to go potty, tell me when you have to go potty. And like we always go potty before we do anything that I think is really going to distract him. So before we get really engrossed in a game that I know he's going to just want to keep playing, we go potty. For example, like if we're watching a show, we always go potty before shows. And that was my rule with my oldest too, because my oldest like zones into shows. Like he is not moving from that television. That's one of the reasons we don't watch a lot of television, because it's kind of creepy. But anyway, off track. So we always go potty before nap, before bed, before watching a show. Obviously, we're not going anywhere in this time, but like we always go potty before we leave the house to go somewhere. And we just have those patterns of like, that's part of our exit routine, going potty, putting on our shoes, etc. Like that's just what we do. And that'll save you a lot of stress. Oh, look, I just gave a good tip and I didn't even get to my tips part. Anyway, cons of this method. I mean, you have all the cons of literally every potty training method, which is just like so much pee, you guys, so much pee. And obviously you have to keep your cool when you're super frustrated, not getting angry about it and reminding yourself that your kid is still learning and they're not doing it to upset you or frustrate you, etc. Now, normally if you were to do this method in real life, normal situations, not coronavirus situations, you're stuck in your house for 3 days straight doing this training. And so it's hard to clear your schedule for 3 days straight. You don't want to be far from a potty in this time. Plus literally it's just like accident after accident the first 3 days. But since you're home, can't go anywhere, this is a good time to get it done. But it is really draining on your energy because you are watching your toddler like a hawk, staring them down, everything they're doing, because you will learn their tells. You will be able to tell when they're about to go to the bathroom when you've been watching them. And so that for me is the hardest part, is just that sustained focus of keeping an eye on him. Oh my goodness. It drains all my mental energy. It's like conducting a science experiment on your kid. But by the end of the day, I was just done. And so those were some long 3 days. Now, she also addresses nighttime training And I'll tell you, like with my oldest, he just wasn't ready. He didn't feel having to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And there's not really much you can do about that. Like until your body starts creating that chemical in your brain of like feeling the pee, telling you to wake up, like that's a bodily function that either your body matured enough to have or not. So some kids just aren't ready to nighttime train until later. Like, I mean, there's some kids who still wet the bed at like 7. So, try not to freak out. For him, we just decided that we were going to use, we called them nighttime underwears. It's called Marketing People. We had like training pants, and I'll try to go back and see if I can find the link to those. I really liked them. They have like a pad inside for absorbency. And then at some point we did this like size like 2T ones and the 3T ones. And then after that, I think we just switched to pull-ups after a while because we were just having so many accidents. But I think if your kid's not having accidents too often, the disposable ones are like way more efficient because luckily my youngest, he does wake up in the middle of the night when he has to go potty. So in that case, you're just like feel like you're wasting pull-ups because at some point you can't use them anymore. Like, I mean, we recycle them each night, but after you wear them like 4 nights, they're like all like flimsy and falling apart. So if you're having a lot of accidents, just use a pull-up and call it nighttime underwear and only use them at night. We do not use them during the day. And obviously you can help that by not having liquids a couple hours before bed. That makes a big difference. So I think, you'll see whether or not your kid can wake up dry or not if you're stopping liquids far enough ahead of time. And then at some point their body will wake them up and you'll be fine. So tips. One of them is for nighttime accidents. There are these like absorbent pads that you can put down underneath the sheet that's not like a plasticky feeling. So it's not like crinkly when you lay on it, like, your grandma's plastic couch. So you have a layer of those, then you put your sheet on. And then depending how big your pad is, you can put another pad on top and then another sheet. So if there's an accident, you just take off the top sheet and the top pad, and then underneath is another pad and sheet that's clean. So that makes nighttime accidents really quick to clean up. But if you have a smaller pad and then you end up leaking off the pad and onto the clean sheet, then you just have 2 dirty sheets. So, it depends on which kind you buy. But I'll put those links on my website as well. Okay, tip 2. Set up an area in your house to do the potty training where you have an easy to clean floor. Luckily, we live in Houston. It's pretty nice outside right now. It hasn't hit that unbearably hot stage. And so we've just been playing outside. So we just rinse off accidents with a hose. But if you're somewhere where the weather is not good, maybe just like kind of quarantine yourselves even more to like just the kitchen linoleum and keep yourselves in that space where it's easy to clean up. That for me was more like my peace of mind because then I wasn't so stressed about like pee on the carpet. So I just felt like that's easier. And if you can create a little play area in the space where you have easy to wipe floors, only play with things that are easy to clean off or can go in the washing machine. Just kind of think about that going in is how can we limit the amount of stress on mom? Because I'm going to be honest with you, straight talk. This is really about how much you are willing to suffer until your kid gets it. Totally honest. Like if you're only willing to suffer for 3 hours and 2 accidents and then you're like, I'm done. Well, guess what? Your kid's not going to be potty trained. So you've got to suck it up. So I'm giving you all these tips so that you can be as prepared as possible to be able to make it through the time. All right. Next tip, number 3, make sure you have all your supplies in place. So I had like a pile of old hand towels and stuff. I kept one in my pocket so that way when he'd have an accident, I could scoop him up with the towel in hand and minimize the pee dribble to the bathroom. Since we were playing outside, I kept a towel just inside the house so that way I could come in the house, put him down, and the towel would absorb any pee dripping, and then close the door behind me because my cat is a runner and I didn't have to chase down the cat and have to clean up pee. Things as simple as like, in the bathroom, keep the light on, have the toilet ready with the potty seat, keep the door open so you're not trying to like carry a leaking kid and open doors. Have a set place for all the soiled linens because you are literally going to go through a bazillion pairs of underwear. And so Can you throw them in like a bucket of soapy water? If your washer's right near your bathroom, can you just throw them all in the washer and run them that night? I just kept a laundry basket in the bathroom. And so everything just piled up in the laundry basket. And then I would do laundry each night. So if you live somewhere where you don't have in-house laundry, I'm sorry. This is going to be a ton of laundry, but I promise you it's worth it. Just keep your bucket of soapy water, maybe just rinse them out and hang them up to dry. That would be another solution than having to go like run downstairs in your apartment and do more laundry every evening. Tip number 4, have your replacements ready. So keep a pile of clean shirts, clean undies, your towels all somewhere nearby because you're going to be changing a lot. I have 2 boys, so I don't know if girls have this problem, but my boys would get pee on their shirt like probably 1 out of 3 times. I don't know, maybe anatomy wise, girls don't have that issue, but like keep shirts, undies, and towels on hand. Big piles. Number 5, stools. We have so many stools, y'all. But it's really important that your kid can climb up on the potty by themselves because they need to start learning how, like obviously you're helping them at the beginning, but you want to get to the point where you're creating an independent child. So if they can climb up on the potty by themselves, that's even better. You want to have a stool by the sink so they can step up to the stool to reach the sink and be able to wash their hands because this is all creating independence so that hopefully in like a month, I'm not standing there watching him pee every time. I can kind of just keep an eye from the kitchen or check on it as it goes, but I don't have to be with him every step of the way come like a month from now. And then speaking of that, tip 6 is have your potty seats ready. Now, you have the option to have like a little kid potty where they just sit down and they're like low to the ground. I personally do not want to clean a potty every time my kid goes to the bathroom. I'm out. Like, ugh. So I bought, and I will link this on the website, it's a toilet seat that has a potty seat attached to the lid. And so you actually take your seat off the toilet, you just install this different toilet seat that has the extra potty seat in it. And basically the potty seat is like just a smaller version of a regular person seat. And it like kind of sits inside like a concentric circle, but it folds up and it has a magnet attached to it. So it sticks to the lid for, all the grownups and big kids to use the potty. But then you can pull the little seat down and it makes the hole smaller so they don't feel as unsafe or worried about like falling in or whatever. So I think that one's a huge help. And so we have that seat and I installed it myself. It really wasn't hard, but we have a house that probably needed new toilet seats anyway. Our house is like 15 years old and granted we potty trained my other one too. And like math wise, our house is probably like, it was at least over 10 years old when I swapped out the potty seats. And I mean, literally toilet seats, they get a little dirty after a while anyway. So I ended up just tossing the old seats and I figure by the time we get through potty training and nobody needs a special seat anymore, then I'll just get new seats on there. But random tangent. The other thing that I found super helpful in terms of potties, which is the part that I did not like about cleaning, is that we did end up buying this little froggy urinal that I put on a command hook on the wall, or like you could hang it on like the shower glass or something, because my son was having issues going pee in the potty. Like he wasn't quite tall enough to reach, like his penis was too far below, like he couldn't actually pee in the toilet bowl. But when he was standing up on the stool, it was almost too high. And then he was like, felt unstable. And my older one has a thing about like not liking unstable ground. He's better about it now that he does gymnastics. But like when he was little, he did not like anything unstable or shaky. So we ended up putting this little potty, and again, I'll link this on Amazon too, on the wall until he learned how to pee standing up. And then he was tall enough to actually reach in the potty. So far, my younger one doesn't really ever go in it. Like he prefers sitting right now. And I know that that's something that some people are kind of weird about. Like, boys shouldn't sit to pee. Well, you know what? We're just learning. Like he's not going to sit to pee forever. Calm down, people. I know that's like a thing with a lot of dads. Obviously, I don't get it because I don't stand to pee. But just FYI, they're not going to be sitting to pee forever. It's just a short amount of time. Slow your roll. You'll be all right. Anyway, so we bought this little froggy urinal until he figured out how to pee standing up and could reach the potty. And then I took it out because again, you have to like dump all the pee in the toilet and then rinse it because I'm like things to not be gross. Because the problem is, let's be honest here, if you have a toddler, they're going to want to touch the urinal. So you can't leave like drippy pee everywhere because they're going to touch it. It's just the way life is. Or if you have like a dog or something, maybe that's a problem. I don't have a dog, but knowing my sister's dogs, I feel like that would be a problem. And let's see, what else? Okay, tip number 7, mental fortitude. You have got to be mentally prepared. Like I mentioned earlier, like this is all about you being able to power through for the 3 days. Like know that this is going to be tough. Go in with that mindset and you'll be all right. Number 8, anything that you know is going to take a lot of time away from watching your kid during this process, try to figure out some way to prep ahead of time. Like obviously once they're in bed at night, you can get a lot of stuff done, but no, you're not going to get a lot of stuff done in these 3 days. The hardest part for me was dinner prep and cleanup because that was taking my time away. So my husband and I were like team working it. Like I was usually on potty duty because he didn't want to do potty duty. So I was watching our youngest while he was heating up dinner. So I made sure it was things like, it wasn't anything we had to cook. It was just like heating up leftovers, or like I will cook while he's sleeping and then just, heat it up when it comes time for dinner. And then the cleanup time, I was on Toddler pee duty while he cleaned up the dishes. So that was awesome. If not, maybe just leave those dishes until bedtime if you don't have a second set of hands to help you. One of the things that she does recommend in her book is having someone to help you, but they do need to be familiar with the process and they need to be there helping the whole way. So like if you do have like a grandma nearby or something, that would be a huge help to have during this time if they're willing to jump in and, coronavirus wise, you're okay with that. 9, pick your battles. My older one, we didn't do any like candy or treats, etc., like food treats, because at the time I was having some issues personally about like food motivation and realizing that I just had really bad associations with like food and reward, like only getting dessert if you eat all your dinner, which prompts you to eat maybe more than you should have and not listen to your body feeling full. Anyway, another tangent. So at that time, like I did all toys. And so for him, he was in love with that. My younger one doesn't really care that much about that kind of prize. We already have a bunch of toys, already having another boy. I was like, oh, no more toys. So I did do food prizes for him. Normally, I'm not a big sugar person. We don't have a lot of junk food in our house. And I'll be totally honest with you, mostly it's because I don't want to eat it. So my willpower is involved in not purchasing the things that are terrible for you, because if they're in my house, I will eat them. So one of my son's prizes was fruit snacks, like the Welch's fruit snacks. And I know you're gonna sound crazy, Patricia, but I don't buy those normally. Like I just don't keep that kind of food in the house. Like my kids still have it, like, friends' houses or parties or play dates or whatever, but I just don't buy them. So my kids are like on cloud 9 right now about all the fruit snacks in the house. But you got to pick your battles. Like to me, is this like my sugar concern that big of a deal? No, we're only going to do these prizes for like a week, maybe week and a half. We're already like weaning off them a week out. If he doesn't ask, I don't offer it. And at some point we'll just have less treats. So like on day 2, he went pee-pee in the potty and I like right when he got up and I let him have a lollipop before his breakfast. And there's literally no way I would ever do that in real life. But this is potty training and I'm on a mission. He won't die from a lollipop before breakfast. Same thing with like television. We didn't watch a lot of television. Like that could be a prize for your kids. But for me, it's like, I know that they probably won't go potty if they're watching TV. So like I chose that to not be a prize. But like if you're not a big TV person and your kid would love to watch a show, maybe that's a good prize for them. So it doesn't have to be like a slippery slope. It's literally a prize for like a week and a half. And then you can let that fade back out again. Just don't buy more fruit snacks. Problem solved. Now, tip number 10, I should have done a better job with this and I didn't realize it was going to be this big of a mess. So I wish I had done this, which is if you have older siblings, you need to have a discussion with them ahead of time on what this is going to look like in the next few days, because my older one was a hot mess when he realized that his little brother was getting fruit snacks and lollipops all the time and he didn't, and that I was constantly watching him, focusing on the baby. What's he doing? Is he going to pee? And I wasn't giving that level of attention to my older one, and he did not do well. So be aware of your older kids' personalities and how they will deal with that, and kind of talk them through it and find ways to make them still feel special. Like spending extra time with them at nap time, even though you're like, I really should be doing something else, or, having them help you cook dinner, like some way to spend that one-on-one time with them that they would normally get more of. But since you're so focused on the potty trainee, they kind of got the shaft. And then bonus tip, because I was going to make this 10 and then I realized I started talking and threw in an extra one. Oops. So bonus tip number 11, figure out what your kid's motivation is and use it. Now, this is hard to do when they're younger, but I feel like once they hit like at least 2.5, you can start to see patterns in their motivation. So when I picked prizes for my oldest, he loves to win. He loves to conquer. He loves to achieve. So the prizes that I chose, like looking back now, I don't think I knew it so much at the time, but he was excited to win the prizes. Like his poo-poo prizes were these little matchbox-sized construction vehicles because he's super into construction vehicles at the time. And we drive them around in Rice. It was a blast. But he really wanted an excavator. That one he was super excited about. And the other ones, he really was more excited about the achievement. Like he likes the conquer. I did it. But like he really wasn't like as excited about the steamroller afterwards. He really just liked the process of earning the steamroller. Whereas like my younger one doesn't really give a crap about that stuff. Like the prizes in general, he's just not prize motivated. He's not an externally motivated kid. He doesn't need things to feel the motivation. For him, it's actually the independence that he craves. And so when I was watching and trying to figure out, like, I mean, there would be times where he didn't even ask for his PP prize. I was kind of like, okay, well, that's not really the motivation I was looking for. And yet what I noticed he didn't like is that I told him he couldn't play on the carpet because he was having accidents. And I said, well, you can play on the carpet when you go pee-pee in the potty. But if you're going to have accidents, and I'm sorry, I can't let you play on the carpet because we get pee-pee on the carpet and I don't want to clean up pee-pee on the carpet. That's yucky. And that was like a light bulb moment for him of like, wait, I get to do what I want. If I'm going pee-pee in the potty, done. Like that motivated him. Like I wouldn't let him sit in my bed because I didn't want an accident in my bed. And he was like, those are the things, like that made a difference to him. So this just takes some learning of figuring out how to really like know how your kid works. And this is an exercise where you can kind of try it out too and see, like I tried treats, I tried a toy, but maybe that independence is what your child craves. So look for those patterns of what really makes a difference to your child. And then make sure that your prizes and the motivation is drawn from what matters to them. You can think about like the Enneagram or like, you know, the 4 love languages or, you know, or not 4, there's 5 love languages where it's like, you know, giving gifts and acts of service, those things. Like think about, if you're familiar with any of those, you know, run through those in your head. What's really going to make a difference to your child? What's going to make them say, I want that. That's what I want. So for my oldest, he wanted to win. He wanted to get the prize. He wanted to like accomplish. Whereas my younger one's like, well, I want to do what I want to do. And if I want to play on the carpet, then I'll go potty so that I can play on the carpet. So there's my top 10 plus bonus number 11 tips on how to potty train well, how to be prepared. You, mama, how you can be prepared mentally to take this on, because it really is all about your motivation to get it done. Are you willing to put in the hard work to make this happen? Now, side note, if your kid is older and still not potty trained, do not fret. You can still do this. No one goes off to college in diapers. Everyone figures it out eventually. Okay, so calm down. You'll be all right. You will get through this. But if you know in your heart of hearts that it's all about you not wanting to take the steps and sacrifices to get it done, there's your answer. Are you ready to jump in? Jump into the PP party, mama. You can do it. We'll get it done, and I think there'll definitely be a decrease in diaper purchases after all of these parents have been stuck home and potty trained their kids probably earlier than they had originally planned. So I would love to hear how your potty training goes. You can find me on social media at Motherhood and ADHD, and please, mama, subscribe, leave a review, share with your friends, and let me know if there's something you've been wanting to talk about. Shoot me a note and let me know. I'd love to hear what you want me to talk about next. I'm always looking for good ideas, and hopefully you've got one. Okay, head over to the show notes. It's motherhoodandadhd.com. You can view all the episodes and find the show notes and all the links that we talked about today, so you will be the PP queen in no time. All right, have a great week, successful mama.
Thank you for listening to Motherhood and ADHD. For more resources, head over to our website, www.motherhoodinadhd.com.